Go to any big city and there's absolutely zero self-reliance. All of the security, all of the logistics, all of the supply, all of the food, all of the water, all of the stuff is all dependent on everybody working together. So what's going to happen if or when that changes? There's something missing in our way of thinking about survival in all of our SHTF wet dreams that so many people like to talk about and use as a means of, whether it's just generating a conversation or drumming up money or scare tactics or whatever. I got a goat who wants to play. It's something I think that we probably need to have a conversation about. Well, as far as I can tell, there is a missing piece in all of the conversations about survival and SHTF and all of these wet dream fantasies that folks like to have and think about and contemplate. Because it seems that the dudes, the folks who have come before us, they didn't call it survival, man, they called it life. And there are still so many people out there who live the life that so many of us talk about trying to be prepared for. Like my dad here in Central Texas, taking care of his goats, his chickens, his dogs, his donkeys, and taking care of all the farm life, you know. And I don't care if you're in Central Texas or Appalachia or the Mountain West or the Northeast, there are so many people who do the life. Everybody's concerned about the state of affairs of the country and where we're at and where it looks like we're heading to. But the people that seem to be most concerned about things and causing a stir and causing a ruckus are those who live outside of this reality. If you are living and buying food paycheck to paycheck, odds are you have a lot more to be concerned about than everybody else. Yeah, I'll get you. When you have a spread, you're always thinking about those basic things. You know, you're thinking about weather. You're thinking about when to plant crops, when to harvest crops, and how to take care of your animals. You're thinking about water all the time, especially here. So much is dictated based off of water, how to collect it, when to take advantage of the natural rainfall. You're concerned about the heat. You're concerned about fires. It's like there's so many of us that live a sheltered life, working a 9-to-5 job, maybe 2, maybe 3, trying to take care of our families and provide for them. And I don't want to take anything away from that, because I think ultimately we're all concerned about the state of affairs that our country's in. People who are most concerned are those who live outside of the reality of self-sufficiency and self-reliance. And don't get me wrong, like that's a huge portion of our population, right? You go to any big city and there's absolutely zero self-reliance in that city. Everything is, all of the security, all of the logistics, all of the supply, all of the food, all of the water, all of the stuff is all dependent on everybody working together. So what's going to happen if or when that changes? Well, if you live in the Central Texas here, or if you live in Appalachia, if you live in the Mountain West, if you live in a rural society, odds are you're already standing a little bit more prepared than your neighbors down in the city. You have some sense of what the weather and the impact that the weather has on you. You have sucker. Probably understand a little bit more the realities of dependence on water, and you think about how to use it, how to collect it, how to purify it for you, your animals, your gardens. You're constantly thinking about pests, about cycles of change in the weather, thinking about a goat trying to freaking stab you in the butt. You thinking about doggies? You're a good guard dog. Yes, you are. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. You think about wildfires, drought. You think about tornadoes. Maybe think about hurricanes, earthquakes. And you already live with a degree of preparation for them. For all of these contingencies that can come smack you in the face. Because for folks like you, folks like my dad, it's not survival, it's life. Isn't that right, big dog? So what are some of the things that, if this is outside of your wheelhouse, that you can do now to be ready for then? Because ultimately, like, there's a train that's coming. We don't know exactly what's on it. We don't know the exact timeline, but it's coming. And if we're not thinking about it, if we're not ready for it, if we're not prepared for it, the hard truth about trains is that they win each and every single time. Stop and take stock of your life and how you get about it. How are you living it? How are you ready and prepared for the general things that life is going to happen, whether it's equipment that's breaking down, your vehicle, your plumbing, your heater. This dude right here is one of the #1 reasons why my dad's been able to keep goats and other animals and not have to worry about the raccoons, the skunks, the coyotes. Him and a donkey do wonders. All kind of predators out there that want to come and snatch up what is yours. So here's the hard truth about it. It's something I think that we don't want to believe, we don't want to listen to. Again, because we're more interested in fantasy than reality. If you want to know how to make it through, you have to stop focusing on all of the things to do, right? You have to stop focusing on all of the mechanical skills of survival. And you need to first get a couple things right. You need to let your word mean something. When you say it, you need to follow through with it. Which means even before you can get that right, you have to get your character right. You have to believe in the right things, have your value sets right, have your priorities correct, both vertically and horizontally. And I would submit first vertically and then horizontally. Think about what it takes for you to be a man. It's not knowing how to shoot, move, and communicate. It's knowing how to care for yourself, those who are in your charge, provide a degree of security, guidance, mentorship, leadership. Once we get these foundational things right, then the natural progression is to learn some mechanical skills to do the things that we believe that we need to be about. I hope that makes sense. Stop being in a hurry to get everything done right now. Like, yes, all anybody wants is more time. But sometimes we need to stop and just enjoy the world around us, enjoy our family, enjoy our friends, and just be present. Doesn't matter if you live out in the country, if you live in a vertical society down in the city. Ultimately, we all have the same concerns. It's a matter of having our priorities right and understanding how to get after things. So don't let this be a discouragement if you live in the city. I ain't telling you to pack up, although you probably should. See, it doesn't matter if we live in a rural environment like this, or if we live down deep in the heart of a city. We all have the same concerns. And no matter where you find yourself on the spectrum of where you live and how you get about things, if you don't have your priorities right, you could live out here and you're still going to get jacked up if your priorities are wrong. Kind of all comes back down to knowing and understanding that everything begins and ends with an assessment, right? We need to orient and observe and then decide and then act. We need to know what our hazards are, identify the risks associated with those hazards, and develop and implement controls to mitigate some of them. Because you ain't going to get rid of all of them. And if you live out here, I don't have to worry about some dude coming and breaking in a vehicle or a home invasion. I don't have to worry about mobs on the road. But if you live in the city where all of those hazards are, you probably don't have to worry about snakes. You probably don't have to worry about the raccoons or the skunks or the coyotes. You don't have to worry about what you're going to do for the summer heat, right? And water, not having any. Because again, doing all of those things is secondary to doing the first thing right first. Because it's not fantasy land. It's real life. It's real life. Team, we need to do better to embrace reality and not fantasy. We need to do better to think about the things that we actually need to get better at, and not the fantasy survival, but the real survival. How to get through hard winters, how to get through scorched summers, how to get through some famine, how to get through animals destroying and taking what's yours. By animals, I don't just mean the coyotes. We need to all do better. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts, team, on this rambling conversation as we all continue, I hope, to do just that, to improve our own foxholes, to master our craft and develop our tactical virtue. Team, I look forward to seeing your comments down below. As always, until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked. Team, if you want to master your craft and develop your tactical virtue, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell so that you can stay up to date on future content. Consider becoming a channel member. It's going to give you exclusive access to content not available to anybody else. I appreciate you guys. Until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked.
I know you're out there! Come to my voice!